like to welcome you to EMU Today. This is our maiden voyage. We are very excited that you are joining us for what is an exciting and engaging opportunity here from Eastern Michigan University. My name is Mark Esley, and I will be your host, but I am so pleased to welcome Sarah Potter-Racke. Right? Right. All right. And we're so excited to have you. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Good, good. Now tell us briefly about yourself, if we could.
Yes, I am a junior, and I'm double majoring in electronic media and film studies and entertainment design and technology, and I'm looking to graduate from here in about April of 2019.
Good. And what do you think about doing this show, EMU Today? What do you think?
I think it is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We are so excited to have you, and she is our co-host, our student co-host. We are so excited to have you join me on this set with our very first broadcast, with our very first special guest. And I'm so pleased to welcome Dr. James M. Smith. He's the 23rd president of Eastern Michigan University, and he's been here since July of 2016. Dr. Smith, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me. Sarah, thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you. And you have a very impressive background, a very impressive resume, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. How long have you been working in the educational field?
A long time.
Yeah.
A long history. Probably from my days of public school teaching, over 35 years.
Over 35 years.
Started out as a public school teacher, became a principal, went back to do a doctorate, fell in love with undergraduate teaching, took a complete different route and went to university life, and then ultimately off to the presidency for 7 years in South Dakota, and now beginning the second year here.
And you're enjoying it, I hope?
I love it.
Good.
I love it.
I had the opportunity of meeting you actually before you started here at Eastern Michigan, probably about a month or so. It was at the Mackinac Policy Conference back in, I think it was back in May of 2016, and I had you on my radio show back then, right?
You're right. It was about 2 months before I began, and Don Lopnow was kind enough as interim president to ask me to join him at Mackinac, and obviously I've been since, and will continue to go probably every year during the time I'm president.
Well, we are so pleased to have you. There are a lot of great things happening here at EMU, and I think we want to hone in on 2 or 3 specific areas with you. And most notably, just announced, obviously, this being this semester, enrollment. Eastern Michigan just experienced its third largest first-year class in history. Talk to us about that.
Well, the class is large. It's the third largest, as you said, in our history. But I think the more interesting element, large is certainly for a president important because tuition goes along with that largesse. But for me, the real interesting point is that 30% of our incoming freshmen, first time at any university, identify themselves as members of underrepresented groups. So we have a very diverse freshman class, matching the diversity of the world these young men and young women will work in. So we're excited about that. We're excited about what they will bring to campus and how they will do during this first fall semester.
And as we were preparing for our discussion with you, academically is a very strong class as well.
It's certainly not without notice that it is a higher ACT and higher GPA than we've had in previous years. And the numbers in the honors program continue to grow. So it tells us that very academically gifted young men and young women joining us.
And for those of you viewing, I'm actually an alum of Eastern Michigan University. When I was a student here, we had a very strong commuter population that's going back just a couple of years ago.
Right.
Okay, maybe not. How would you categorize the student body in terms of predominantly a community university, coming from Metro Detroit, Southeastern Michigan, or is it from the Midwest? How would you categorize the incoming freshmen?
Well, we still have a good number of commuter students. Certainly as our students are further into their undergraduate experience, they find localities that may be 10 or 15, 20 minutes from campus for living. But we have a number of students that stay on campus all 4 years or 4.5 years. We recruit very largely from about a 5-county region surrounding Ypsilanti, but we recruit all over the Midwest and all over the world. Sarah, for example, is from Wisconsin. It's not unusual to meet a student that tells me they're from Florida or California or Arizona, and usually the question follows, are they athletes? And that's not true.
Yeah.
We recruit students from virtually every state in the nation, and they come to us for all kinds of different reasons.
And speaking of every state in the nation, we have a very strong international program, sir. I think you want to ask about a campaign that was recently launched.
Yes, so I'm glad you mentioned the diversity of the incoming class. It is super important to me, coming from a small town in Wisconsin where everyone's predominantly white and Christian and straight. Coming here and seeing people from all different kinds of communities, I had noticed at the beginning of the summer that there was the "We Are Welcome" or "You Are Welcome Here" campaign with all of the banners. Could you touch on that for a moment?
Well, certainly. I wish I could take credit for it. Walter Kraft, our Vice President for Communications, along with folks in our foundation, my wife, Dr. Connie Rule-Smith, was very interested in doing this, talking about how do we tell people that in an environment where you may be reading in India and China that you're not welcome in the United States, that you truly are welcome at Eastern. So we came up with the concept of a banner campaign, matching what Temple University had originally done. But really more importantly, we wanted to take it to a new level. So we've done a banner campaign, we've done a video, we've done a city video. We just did a "We Are Welcome Here" because we brought all the international students last Friday together to do a little video piece. So we think that's incredibly important. And just as you said, Sarah, everyone that comes to Eastern should see the world as they're going to see it in their occupational future. And that's not going to be all white Christian straight people who live in small towns in Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Arizona, or Texas. So we think that that's a very good campaign for the university and a very good campaign for student recruitment.
And I think we have the actual video here for the audio for the "You Are Welcome Here" campaign. How successful has that been so far? I know we just launched it. I know you just launched it recently. What's been the overall response to the campaign?
Well, the truth will come probably a semester or two down the road because we're always recruiting for that next class. I can tell you the students that are featured could not be more delighted. They're sending their Facebook posts and their Instagram and their Snapchat pieces back to their home country. In China, there's a communication system called WeChat, and the WeChat is a very popular communication methodology that has lots of banner pictures from our Chinese students. So we think it'll be very popular. International recruiters have been very positive. We use recruitment specialists to assist us, and they're very positive at what they think the future will be for recruiting students to come to Eastern. And our proximity to Detroit International Airport is pretty special. 20 to 25 minutes without traffic, and you have a direct flight to Beijing or Shanghai or almost anywhere in the world.
We're very fortunate that we live near an international hub, an international airport such as Detroit Metro. Sir, as a student on campus, and you're dealing with the students every day, from your perspective, what has been the overall response and to the overall campaign that you see it from a student's perspective?
What I first noticed was a lot of my international Twitter friends actually were retweeting pictures of it and talking about it a lot, and there was an overwhelming positive response from what I saw to seeing all of this this campaign going around.
So certainly it was showing, the university is showing that all students are welcome here on campus and certainly have the opportunity to get the educational experience, which is what this university is about, is clearly getting the education for all of our students, or irrespective of where you're from.
Absolutely. And that's you've hit the message perfectly, Mark. It's that's true for domestic students, it's true for international students, it's true for you name the slice of life, and we want you to know there's a spot here at Eastern for you. There's a comfort level at Eastern. There's an engagement level at Eastern that will make you very comfortable and very happy with your undergraduate or graduate experience.
You know, what's interesting too is about the investment in the university. I know we're investing in our students, but as a student here, as I walk on campus, when I was a student here, certainly we had the core buildings. And as I recently have gone back on campus, I noticed a lot of investments are taking place, a lot of newer buildings it appears to be coming on campus. Talk to us about the investments, and I know, sir, you had a follow-up question on that as well. So what have you?
$80 million this summer. Now, $40 million of that is Strong Hall. Strong Hall was a desperately bad science building that needed to go, and the state was was our partner in $30 million of that, and then we have $10 million investment ourselves. But we also have done Quirk Auditorium, Quirk Theater. We've done a new East Loop Road. It's a brand new road behind Alexander Music Hall, going in front of Quirk and Sponberg, and then exiting all the way up to a circle that takes you in front of the Rec IM. We're doing my walk over here today. I was able to see that all of our blue call boxes are now working because we had some down for electronic infrastructure we were working on. So a huge investment in our buildings, our grounds, and our facilities.
Briefly, you may ask a question?
Sir? Yeah, I wanted to also mention, I work for EMU Theater, and it's amazing to see a school investing in the arts. So I really appreciate everything that's done over in Quirk. Going forward, what are the goals for investing in the future? What you can tell us?
Well, we have another piece of Quirk to do. If you're there often, you know the windows are not very attractive. So I think that's one of our next big projects in Quirk. We know that the cogen plant is fundamental to what we want to do, and that will be up and running in January. That'll allow us between 90 and 96% of our electricity will be produced on campus. People that have stock in energy companies aren't real happy with us, but the reality is we think it's the right thing to do. Our students think it's the right thing to do, and we're going to continue to push that forward. We have some others that we're looking at. Sill Hall needs a big upgrade, and then we have a lot of fundraising activity going on in athletics. So we'll see how all that rolls out in the pretty near future.
I know that we have about a minute or so to go. I do want to ask from an alum's perspective briefly, do you find the alums getting re-engaged with the university as well?
We do. Certainly we'd like more. Presidents are always anxious to meet alums because they have great connections for us. They have great connections for our students to do internships and do practica and other kinds of things. But yes, we are seeing more and more engagement, and we need to work on that front continuously because we've lost some people over the years. You know, as we've not reached out, we may have lost a decade, and we need to double back and get those people fully on board.
In our closing seconds, I got to say, although the football team is getting maybe to the coming a little bit short field goal wise, but it's getting better, right?
Correct. It is getting better. It is getting better.
All right. Well, we want to thank you, Dr. Smith, certainly for coming in and really being our very first guest. We just appreciate everything you're doing.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the maiden voyage for EMU Today. We are so pleased that you're joining us on this program, which is dedicated to the Great Eastern Michigan University. We're talking about various programs from across the university environment. You just heard from President Jim Smith, who kind of gave his perspective as well. We're going to continue the conversation with Professor Bud Gibson. He's the director and professor at the Center for Digital Engagement here. He's also involved with the College of Business. And Bud, we want to thank you very much for joining us.
Well, hey, thank you, Mark. It's great to be on the maiden voyage, as you point out, and talking with you folks again. I've talked with you on the radio, and certainly, Sarah, I've met you a few times.
Well, Sarah, if you're tuning in for the very first time, Sarah Potaracki is our co-host, our student co-host, and you're a senior here at Eastern Michigan, is that right?
Technically credits-wise, but it's my third year, so I call myself a junior.
So we got you for another year?
Yeah.
All right, all right. We'll keep you for another year, all right. But tell us about, first of all, your background. How long have you been with the university, and how did you get into your current capacity?
Well, you know, shockingly, I'm in my 12th year.
Yeah.
It just flies by. I was originally at another nearby university for 9 years and then transitioned over to Eastern. I've been at the College of Business the whole time. Got my PhD at Carnegie Mellon University. I have an
in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yes, in Pittsburgh. Yes, and I have an MBA from the Wharton School, and then I got my undergrad at Georgetown University. Good. So, you know, I just kind of worked my way through to academia.
Good, and you're the director at the Center for Digital Engagement. Exactly, yes. What is the Digital Engagement Center?
Well, for about 10 years now, we have been getting into digital marketing over at the College of Business. And 2 years ago, we said, well, you know, we've got to do something to pull all of these efforts together. As we had a number of people doing different things. And so we decided to launch this center. And so we just launched it. You know, I think it might be easier to talk about the center if we look at some of the photos.
Sure. So I think we have the photos upcoming, and kind of walk us through the center. Now, you have a summer program, I believe, right?
We do, and we have a fall workshop. And that was really what kicked us off. In this photo, you actually, this is a photo from the workshop. It's an audience shot. And I want you to remember that guy. Looking forward, the center of the photo, he's Chris Davis. Right next to him is Judy Davis, his mother. She's a faculty here. The goal of the workshop is to kind of bring us together with the community, get students engaged with speakers, professional level speakers, as well as other speakers just out of school. And so you see Chris there. He was still in college at the time. So if we can go to the next one. This is Angelina Miller, an alum who now is the manager of Agency Relations Canada for Google. She was here just as she had joined Google, talking to us about search marketing with Google. Angelina's been a really strong alum, come back several times to help students out, recommended students for positions at Google, trying to help us build that pipeline. Next. This is Chad Wiebesick, and I thought it would be interesting. Chad, at the time, was the director of social media for the Pure Michigan campaign, and he was also our first executive in residence at the Center for Digital Engagement. Really helped us get it off the ground. And he has also been involved in the You're Welcome Here campaign from the Ipsy side now. And so the Ipsy location shots were all put together by Chad and made that entree there, and he helped publicize it. So if we go to our next one. And this is Mike Lawrence from Google. I've known Mike for 10 years, and in the background, the blurry woman is Linda Gerard. Sure. Linda started an agency, Pure Visibility, a bit over a decade ago. She's on our advisory board. Mike was our second executive in residence. Really helped connect us up with the local community. We actually rebranded the digital marketing workshop. It had been called the search marketing workshop, and Mike was part of that effort, really helping us connect with the community. And so this is how we started off. Fall workshop classes, fall workshop to kind of publicize what we do, connect with the community. And then it was out of the fall workshop that we made the connections that led to our summer internship.
And let's come back to that as well. This workshop has really grown, and you just had one this past fall.
Right.
And it sounds like the attendance continues to increase every year.
So we started in 2011, and it's looking for our most recent workshop, like we have tripled attendance since that first workshop. And we have gotten very good name brand speakers from the local community, have a lot of agencies, and also large companies in the area, small companies too, that contribute speakers.
Amazing. So out of that, you said came the summer clinic workshop. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the summer clinic is a guided internship. So I heard the president on here a little bit earlier talking about connecting with alums and creating internship opportunities as well as practica. And so this was our effort to go in that direction. And so, as I mentioned, we've been doing this for close to a decade, built up a number of relationships in the community. And one of those relationships is with Ann Arbor Spark, which is, you should think of as the high-tech incubator in this part of the state. And I mentioned to the VP of Entrepreneurial Services at the gym that we were developing this center, and he said, well, we may have an opportunity. And so I said, gee, what? And he said, come to lunch with me. And so we went to lunch the next day, and they put in a proposal to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to fund an internship with their incubator company. So this actually wound up first year, I think it was 12 interns. We grew to 20 in the second year. This last year we had 24, and that's pretty much our run rate for a single rendition of the clinic. And then we're looking to actually do the clinic twice, starting in the winter of 2019, so a winter session and a summer session. It's been very successful. We have gotten a wide variety of students connected up with the local high-tech community across a range of skill sets, so not just college and business students, PR students, some folks from digital media, your area of the world, as well as computer science, for that matter, and from all around the world too, although predominantly from around here in Southeast Michigan.
So, Sarah, from your perspective on campus, I mean, you're taking classes, digital spaces everywhere. Classes, you have online classes, you're submitting assignments, certainly online and doing other things. This has got to be a huge benefit for the students on campus, and particularly as Professor Gibbs or Bud is saying, the opportunity to get internships as well.
Yes, internships can be so hard to find nowadays because there's so many, but they're offered in so many different areas, so you have to really hunt. And seeing that there are more opportunities for those coming about is amazing for students. And then more opportunities in the digital age as well.
Well, and with that, we do have a couple of photos from the clinic. So perhaps if we could roll those, we could talk a little bit about what that experience is like for students. So this is actually our alumni day at the clinic. These are past clinic students. We did it just this past summer. And their topic was how to have an amazingly successful internship. All of them have gone on to careers after the clinic based on their clinic experience. So you, on the far left, you have Ashley, who now works for GM. At the time, she was doing an internship with iProspect. She's also a master's student here in the evening, so she's got a lot going on. And then remember that guy we showed at the digital marketing workshop? Well, a year later, he was a clinic student, and now he's a clinic alum, Chris Davis, works in media. And then right next to him, we have Glory Singh, who is actually an American student, but also a Canadian student, dual citizen. And then Andrew Knitz, who was in our first clinic session. They all came back. It was great. We connected them up with the students. It was a lot of fun. But it's about building that pipeline and that set of connections. And then giving people opportunities that they can build off of to go into different types of careers. So if we go to the next one. And then this is our graduation, and I just had to show this. If students do They have to get certified, they have to pass the certification exam, they have to successfully complete their internship, they have to do a number of social media posts, and we pretty much get everybody over the hump. So this is Dasha Jones shaking the hand of Bill Mayer, who was my partner in crime in getting all of this started, and then of course I'm over there on the right handing out the little diploma.
So you just had like a graduation day, like we have at the end of the academic year as well, huh?
Right.
A lot of excitement and enthusiasm for that. Hey, what do you see? We have a couple minutes remaining. What do you see the future of the engagement center at the Center for Digital Engagement? What do you see going for the balance of this year, maybe into next year?
Well, a big thing for us is actually going to be expanding the clinic to twice a year. There's a whole recruitment effort for students. There's a whole recruitment effort for companies. It's kind of a dual-sided thing. So expanding to 2 is going to be a big lift. I see us continuing on with the workshop. That's been amazingly successful, and it's really the thing that all the rest of it grew out of. We have an advisory board now with the Center for Digital Engagement. We are growing our alumni outreach and actually have alumni sponsors for our alumni outreach. And so we're continuing to grow down that end, reaching out to other parts of the university. We began that this past summer with the clinic, had great success with it, and we're doing more and more. And I will be recruiting faculty from other parts of the university to be on the mentoring team, and so that's where I see us going.
Closing comments from you, Sarah, briefly?
If I was a student watching this and I had no idea what to do next, but I had a bunch of interest in becoming involved with this, what would I do?
centerfordigitalengagement.org. Go there. We post about our events. As we have recruitment for the clinic coming up, that will be posted there. We'll also be putting out announcements.
Well, Bud Gibson, we want to thank you for coming in and sharing excuse me, the information with our viewers today. We think it's very worthwhile, very engaging. We thank you very much. We wish you much continued success.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Well, I want to, Sarah, say on our very first one, very good. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking, but I'm feeling good at the end of the show.
Well, I tell you what, we want to thank Dr. Jim Smith and also Bud Gibson for his maiden voyage, and we will check you out the next time on EMU Today.